and see what happens when I press this button. I think this means that we're live. I gotta drop down to a really low resolution to make this game happen with a little bit of smoothness. Because my poor old computer really struggles to do live streaming, which involves, actually encoding video on the fly. It's actually pretty CPU intensive. And then also simulate DOS and run this game in DOS. I wonder if this is working. If anyone ever pops into the chat, drop a line if you can, confirming that you can hear what I'm saying and see the things that I'm seeing, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. This isn't going to be sort of the official Sync Century playthrough of this game or anything, but I just wanted to experiment with live streaming a little bit and play it live, because I'm quarantined and bored. An audio-video desync. I wonder... Yes, it's very ironic. I'm not even sure where to begin thinking about addressing an audio-video desync. If that's something in OBS, or something the way OBS is interfacing with this YouTube system. I don't think there's really much to do in the YouTube interface. So it's probably something that would have to be resolved in OBS. Filters, properties, advanced audio properties. Here, maybe I'll switch to this scene so that you can see what I'm doing. And we also get a nice infinite regress on screen. So I don't know, I'm just playing around with audio things. This doesn't look like there's going to be any wave. Oh, here, there's a sync offset field. What if I put that at 0? Why does that have any kind of offset to start with? That keep it? Yeah. Okay, let me know if that makes the AV sync better or worse. Also, how's it going, Thinking Observer? How's quarantine treating you, if you are quarantined? Let's see here. Oh, it worked. Awesome. Somehow I must have just accidentally typed some garbage into that field, or maybe it was initialized to garbage, but okay, that's all working. I think that means I can just start playing this game now. Hopefully the game audio will work. I think the sound probably still isn't working. Yeah, because I need to go to the multi-output. This is also stupid and complicated because OS X doesn't have a built-in sort of desktop audio feed. Gotta use this third-party stuff. Let's just test it with iTunes. Okay, that looks like it's working in OBS. amazing analog jam. Yeah, I've been depressed with it too. It's a depressing situation. So YouTube is telling me that it's not receiving enough bandwidth, or it's not receiving enough video. I don't know what that means. Oh well. Remember that I stream at a bit rate of 2500. I don't think I've even seen anything about bitrate in here. Where might that leave? Or live, rather. Stream output. Here we go. Okay. Oh, and now I'm in the situation where I can't I can't hit OK because my resolution is too low. So I have to go back out to higher resolution. Hit OK. Now it tells me stream is healthy. Okay. Apologies everyone for all this boring kind of technical setup stuff. This is the very first Sync Century live stream. I probably would not have been comfortable doing this a year ago, 2 years ago. Definitely gained some, or I've reduced performance anxiety. Okay. I would like to start this over. Is there an easy way to do that without... No, I'm just going to have to launch it again. Okay. I think this is finally going to happen now. Make sure we're getting audio. Looks like we are. So, whoops. The only issue now, of course, is that I can't see the chat. So I have no way of knowing if there's a technical problem. I wonder if my phone could somehow access this chat. Like if I just click on live stream on my phone. Oh, there we go. Oh, nice. Let's test this. Hello. It's me. Yeah, this will work, I think. Excellent. Okay, so this is this game, Zork Nemesis. I believe this was released in 1993, but I'm actually not sure. That can't be right, because Myst was 93, so this must have been a little bit after that, probably. But in any case, it's from that era. In fact, I'm now realizing it couldn't have been any earlier than 95, because that's the operating system I played it on. And I played it right when it released, so probably was actually one of the first games I played on Windows 95. I think I pretty much, like, watched the Weezer music video, the Buddy Holly music video that was, like, included with Windows 95, and then immediately played this game. It was a game I played with my dad and my little brother. That kind of became a big tradition for us, playing these point-and-click puzzle games. We had played Myst previously, and probably some other things in between. And This game was also my first introduction to alchemy as an aesthetic space, and just as an idea. I probably had never even heard the word before. And looking back on it now, as some kind of an alchemist, or someone trying to be some kind of an alchemist, for real, you know, this game, I think, actually does a pretty good job of capturing the vibe, for sure, but actually many of the actual ideas, I think, as well. In fact, it contains some actual alchemical texts, like, inside the game that you can read and so on. So, I don't want to say much more about the setup, I think. I just want to jump into it. So let's watch the intro. I wonder how the audio mixes between the game sound and my voice. Anyway, this opens with a suicide, interestingly. Oh, the stream has died to lag.
No one remembers exactly when it began.
Let's pause the emulation. Let's see if we can. Yes, it is going again. Tells me that the stream status is poor, however. I wonder if that's just a result of... I wonder if... Yeah, it seems super choppy. I wonder if I'd have better luck using my phone, actually. It may be that I just don't have the outgoing bandwidth at the moment to do this. I don't, but, you know, I live with other people, so it's quite possible that the bandwidth is being eaten up by other things. Well, I guess one thing I could do is further reduce the resolution of the stream. I mean, this game is only in 640 by 480. That seems silly, though. I don't even know enough about this subject to know if I should increase or decrease this number. Let's try decreasing it by 500 and see if that does something meaningful. Has that improved anything in what YouTube is telling me? Not really. I think it's... Yeah. Damn data caps, exactly. Okay, that didn't seem to do anything. If we really make a drastic change here, what does that do? It's going to tell me no data. that stick or is 2,000 kind of the minimum? No, that sticks. Aha. I don't think so. I mean, I guess we don't need QuickTime open. Probably don't need this open. That's it, really. I think it's just that my computer is old and crappy. But the stream choppiness is you know, the game playback is smooth on my machine, and the video monitoring in OBS seems smooth in terms of what it's encoding. So I think it must be about the outgoing bandwidth. I'm gonna bump this back up to what they recommend. So now it says excellent, stream is healthy. So I think this is just Wi-Fi instability and other garbage. I'm just going to keep playing and hopefully it'll keep up this time. Whoops. No, I don't want to close OBS. But yeah, let me know if it gets crappy again. Hopefully it'll stick for a while. So...
But I'll never forget.
Right.
It began on the day of the great eclipse. On the day of my murder. I've lost my only love. And I've lost my life. Now we all lie under the curse. Sometimes a single act can be so evil it can curse the world, unraveling the future. Only the four lost elements will bring the world back into balance. Then I will live again. I have but one hope left, and it is you. No one else dares come here.
It's like the most dramatic point-and-click video game intro of all time. It's like this giant explosion right away. So I'm going to ruin the immersion because I want to check that this screen is still working. Seems like it is. So we learned a few things there, right? That there's sort of this like background theme of an eclipse. Hopefully it'll continue to improve. When you say choppy, is the audio breaking up? Is it hard to Aha. Well, that's interesting if it's still choppy. Here. I guess I can sort of watch it back. So, hopefully it'll continue to improve. When you say choppy, is the, look at that. Well, we'll just have to put up with it for now. I don't know. Gosh, there's a lot of stuff to say about this game, actually. The first thing is just the coolness of this interface that, I think they called it Z-Vision or something. It's essentially like a uni, axis, like, QuickTime VR idea you can't look up and down except in particular nodes where they've designed it that way. Usually it's just left or right. But Myst was a game that consisted entirely of still images, so having this ability to kind of look around a scene like this was really really impressive at the time. I remember kind of having the impression that it's like it was some kind of weird hybrid between like the Doom engine and the Myst engine, you know. It's not really technically anything like that. The Doom engine used a particular kind of weird projection thing. I'm not sure how they implemented this. I think something much more simple, obviously. The audio's okay. Okay. Well, the audio is at least okay. You know, these games are very slow-paced, so hopefully the choppiness won't be too obnoxious, and hopefully it'll get better. I don't know. What was I saying? Just a little bit about Zork. Zork was, you know, a long-standing series. Like, it began as a text adventure series. The first graphical Zork was called Return to Zork, which I had also played. Zork is usually very comical, and this was the first entry in the franchise to, like, break from that tradition and have kind of a more serious tone. It, however, is also hilarious in its own way, I think, and has a lot of explicit humor in it. It's just a little bit more subtle and backgrounded. Anyway, the basic plot here is that there's been like a curse, and it somehow involves this temple. All of this takes place in the Great Underground Empire, which is part of the Zork fiction. It's like a race of Zorkians, or I don't know what they're even called, that live under the earth. And this particular area is referred to as the Forbidden Lands. It's essentially like a quarantined zone of the Great Underground Empire, actually, which makes it very appropriate playing at the moment. You know, we learned a little bit of sort of strange, dreamy setup in the introduction there, that only the 4 lost elements can bring the world back into balance. No one else dares come here but us, the player, of course. We learned that someone had been murdered, right? What's the line exactly? Sometimes an act can occur that's so evil it curses the world, or something like that. I'm misquoting it, but... So, here we are in this weird little room. This was so... I don't know, imaginatively stimulating to me as a teenager. It's like this strange little shrine with a coffin next to it. You know, I think even much more so than Myst, which, you know, Myst was always trying to be quite naturalistic, but this game just gives no fucks about that. Like, it'll just levitate things at you, and it's like, what happened? There was like a ghost playing a violin, you know? There's no real attempt to rationalize anything, which is so appropriate for a game about alchemy, obviously. So I will be there waiting at the gates of hell. You will not escape my wrath. And then we can click on this candle and have like an anima encounter, basically.
Finally, someone has come. You've got to help us. They're in the temple.
Somehow I want to say an anima very much in the Sophia mode. Glowing white garb. So that's Alexandria, I think is her name. She's like one of the main characters in this game. And I don't know like what's supposed to even have been happening there. If that's kind of her spirit visiting you there, or the whole game is so directly in this dreamy, magical milieu that it doesn't. It kind of has. It forces a kind of a dream analysis approach. Actually, it's impossible to make sense of it in any kind of linear way. So I want to note that this is all kind of framed against this graveyard out here. It's as if the dead are how to say, not christening, but kind of blessing the voyage here or something, right at the outset of the adventure. Three skulls. Now see, I feel that this is keeping us in this anima space at the moment, by way of reference to the triple goddess, Of course, I wouldn't have known that as a... I must have been like 12 or 13 or something, like a very young teenager, maybe 14, when I played this game, and I wouldn't have known anything about the triple goddess or anything like that, but it still would have... I can tell you did give me a strange feeling, like most of the things in this game, because it's all making use of just direct use of this archetypal stuff. So it probably seems ridiculous, but when I played this in the 90s, the fact that there was this area where you could look up and down smoothly like this, I think I probably said wow aloud, It's like, wow, I could look up at the interior of this archway. It felt like a quantum leap in immersive technology. So this tells us that when the sun and moon are joined, the entrance to eternity is opened. Now this is just amazing to me, because it's it's literally just part of this little puzzle. You're supposed to join the sun to the moon here to open the gate. But it also is delivering to you this amazing nugget of true alchemical wisdom, in my opinion anyway. Because I think it really is true that when the sun and the moon are joined, the entrance to eternity is opened. If we were to parse that in a symbolic, psychological sense. Say also in the sense of the union of the hemispheres. So okay, let's join the sun and the moon.
Seek the alchemists? Don't waste your time. I killed them all. You can do no good here.
So that was our first encounter with the Nemesis. Mostly the Nemesis is just this disembodied voice. But it is involved in some kind of like a Myst-style narrative switcheroo where the Nemesis is not precisely who you're led to believe in the end, you know? There's all these doorways that are bricked up here. You can just kind of click on them and listen to them thud. Details like this really captured my attention, you know? It's like, why go through the trouble of coding any of this or putting any of this here, you know? I guess it's just like they've picked little points to add extra immersive things to do, you know? But it, I don't know, it also, it just lends this strange quality to the game. Even after you've finished playing it, you feel like there's still things hidden in it somehow. Like, I still wonder about what's behind this wall. Even though I know logically there's nothing behind it. It's just it's the equivalent of like a false wall in a movie set, basically. But every now and then my brain will still just spontaneously snap back to like these like weird game areas like this. Like, oh yeah, those weird walls. What was that all about? So we could go into the library. If we go into the library, I'm gonna want to read all the books in the library, so maybe let's not go into the library yet. Isn't this just beautiful design? Like, it does more or less look like someone watched that Enigma music video for Sadness, you know? It had that big temple. And then they were like, wow, this would make a great setting for an adventure game. And indeed it does. Like, I can't think of many other games that have this, I don't know how to say it, like, this explicitly spiritual of a setting or something. You know, like we're in a temple for a lot of this game. This is a puzzle that doesn't reach its solution until the very end of the game. This is actually the location where we're going to place the union of the elements once we fuse them all, kind of the final puzzle sequence. But I believe it generates kind of like a golden sphere or something that we place in this hand. Or wait, do I have that backwards? Maybe this opens the door that leads us into the alchemical laboratory where we fuse the elements or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I played it. Let's leave the fountains on, though. Bothers me that... Okay, let's go into the other laboratory.
My secrets are my own, and no one else's. What you seek will only blacken your heart.
Yeah, we could try lowering the game's frame rate. Makes sense. Let's cut it in half to every 1 and 2. See how that goes for now. This laboratory, this is just one of the coolest environments in the game, I think. Now, I don't really know very much at all about the actual history of my tradition, I'm afraid to say. Like, in the sense of being able to identify where all these drawings come from. I mean, some of them are instantly recognizable. This one, for instance. This one I've for sure seen. This is a Masonic image, actually, I think. I'm pretty sure that's Boaz and Yakin there. Maybe it's an older engraving than that, I'm not sure, but this, though, looks like something that's either been modified for the game or just made for the game, because it features this violin. What a weird image, really. I would guess this is something about inspiration. Kind of a dragon. Okay, so this is the journal of the Nemesis. I don't want to read all this right now. The long and short of it is the Nemesis is really angry at like this group of 4 alchemists that I don't remember exactly, maybe they murdered Alexandria or something. We'll learn this all as we go through the game, I guess. So anyway, he imprisoned the alchemists here to try to learn their secrets or something like this. It's funny, you know, I've played this game a bunch throughout my life. Like, it's a game I went back to over and over again, but I never really paid very much attention to the story. Like, it was always just this kind of weird, dreamy experience to me. So part of my desire to play it again is to actually pay attention to the narrative elements this time. So at some point we probably will read all these books and all of this, but for tonight I wanted to just kind of have a more leisurely romp through it. May he burn in hell. It says Malvo up here. That's one of the alchemists. I believe that's the alchemist who is responsible for fire. That's why there's 4 of them. Each alchemist in this game has an associated element and an associated metal. Oh no, that's a very, very famous drawing. I've used that before in Sync Century videos. I'm gonna climb up this ladder and look at the ceiling here. There's another book. Oh, this one just contains images. So these are the alchemists. This is, I think this guy's name is Sartorius. He deals with air. He's like a mad scientist type. This would be Cain, I guess. He's Earth, I think. He's like a war guy. I think he associates to Mars. War guy. A general, is that what he is? I'm not even sure. What is this? I'm not sure who that's meant to be. This is... I can't remember her name, but she's the water alchemist, and she has like a music conservatory. So this must be Malvo then, the priest. What is this even meant to be? Are we to assume these are the Nemesis's drawings of these alchemists, I guess? Actually, that makes sense, I think. So we're learning that the Nemesis is an artist of some kind. He's pretty good at illustration, anyway. You know, this style of game was really so different. It is more about right hemispheric modes of interaction because it's asking you to be alert to environmental details all the time. And so much of it is just about kind of studying images very closely for little clues or patterns, you know. They really trained me to have a particular relationship with media, these games, that I think has served me well in the sync research world, you know. Missing anything else here? I think we looked at everything. Go into the next room. So I think we learned some things about the Nemesis here in these little, like, voice logs.
February 3. I tried to contact Dr. Vexen about the meaning of the alchemy plate symbols. He told me that all symbols have meanings in alchemy, and that everyone is controlled by the orientation of these symbols. He could not, however, tell me more. Use. The man is nearly deaf and blind, a condition that I feel describes perfectly my search for answers.
So dramatic.
I live every day with the reminder of the horror they've inflicted on the others. Well, their crimes were great, and I had to be judge, jury, and executioner. Yet they do not succumb to my torture. Sartorius seems the weakest, but even that bastard will not break his silence.
Oh, that's right. I had kind of forgotten that there was this element of, like, that, like, he's, like, torturing the alchemist to extract a confession or some such thing.
Last day of the year of the misuse. I've hidden the sources of their powers away from their control. Without them, they are unable to hold back the very elements they use to keep dominion over. I've learned of 4 key steps used in alchemy: sublimation, distillation, calcification, and coagulation. Still, I know there is more to be found. Something is missing, some vital step.
I love the way he says coagulation.
The fortune is nearly gone. I am going in search of answers elsewhere.
Yeah.
Rumors speak of riches beyond the hills.
The fortune is nearly gone. I can relate to that one.
I have discovered a vast subterranean land filled with magic and mysteries. However, I haven't found any creature knowledgeable in the black arts. A wizard may be somewhere underground, but I have yet to find him. Other treasure hunters have discovered the rooms, and I've had to kill them to protect my belongings.
So actually, maybe I was wrong about how I was situating this in the Zork world. Maybe this temple isn't actually in the Great Underground Empire. It sounds like the Nemesis eventually went into the Underground Empire to try to enlist the help of occultists and so on down there. What did this first one say again?
February 3. I tried to contact Dr. Vexen about the meaning of the alchemy plate symbols. He told me that all symbols have meanings in alchemy, and that everyone is controlled by the orientation of these symbols. He could not, however, tell me more. Use. The man is nearly deaf and blind, a condition that I feel describes perfectly my search for answers.
So we have like a deaf and blind person insisting on the importance of symbols and the meanings of symbols in the alchemical context. I feel that the lack of outward-facing senses there is meant as a little clue, you know, to indicate perhaps the meaning of those symbols could be found inwardly. So little things like that, they're just very astutely placed around this thing. who knows, on what level that stuff is occurring, but it's very nice that this game about alchemy has a little spiel about symbols and meanings and so on right away. So this ends up being direct quotations from the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. It is true without lie, certain and without doubt, that what is below is like what is above, and what is above is like what is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. I love this stuff, Hermetic philosophy, that is, and I think it really embodies a kind of proto-systems thinking. Hermes was like a very ancient cybernetician in a certain way, because he's thinking about relationships between different scales of systems and so on. You can really see that view lying in there, I think. So it is written in the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, this is the first principle of our great work, the one thing. Of all created things, the condition whereof is transitory and frail, there is only one single principle. All created things proceed from one matter, not each separately from its own peculiar matter. Any imperfect earthly matter can be transmuted into its utmost degree of perfection. From the basest of metals can perfect gold and silver be distilled. From the basest of mortal flesh can eternal life be wrought. This great mystery lies in the elusive power of the quintessentia, the transformative fifth element, the element of the spirit, the quintessence. Whoever possesses its secret can unlock the great mystery of the cosmos. You will come to see the one thing and its correspondences. And so now this is funny because we're kind of breaking from the correct symbolism here to make it map onto the Zork universe. Because in the Zork universe, we don't have Jupiter. We have a planet called Juperon. We don't have a planet called Mars. We have a planet called Mers, and so on. Saturnax, Venus, and Venus, and in this game, these and they're going to correspond to tin and air for Jupiter, iron, for some reason is a Scorpio glyph, and Earth, Saturn, and lead. Is that Virgo? Weird. That's an Aquarius glyph there. But anyway, Saturn, lead, fire, and then Venus, copper, and water. The body attracts heaven, and this takes place in accordance with the great divine order. So it hath been, and so it always must be, from Alpha to Omega, from the beginning of Zork to the end of time. It's awesome. Okay, I think we're done in this room. I want to check things are still technically okay. This tells me that the stream status is excellent. So if there's choppiness, perhaps it does have something to do with OBS still. I'll look into this stuff. See if we can get it improved for next time. Where should we go now? Maybe we should meet the... Should we meet the alchemists? Yeah, let's do that. Along the way, we can encounter this bizarre painting. This thing is like a hint system, I think.
Touch what you cannot solve and return to me. I've got the hints, and I'll give you 3. Suggestion, instruction, and direction. The level of hint is at your discretion. But wait a bit before you flee. You must know how to advance through the 3. Touch me then.
So, how awesome. And what a weird painting. It's like a painting of a person facing away from the frame. looking into another frame that is a mirror that then reflects her face back out through the meta frame. Held by an angel, a winged child of some sort. I think this is an excellent feminine counterpoint to Tut from Welcome to the Future. You know, actually, I never use this hint system because I'm always like, I don't use hint systems, but that means I don't get to hear all this weird dialogue, so maybe we should just get all the hints on this playthrough.
I cannot help you at this time, Wanderer. Go explore these lands further before you return to me.
Oh, okay. Fine. So, we definitely pass between a very conspicuous kind of double pillar motif to enter this main sanctuary. So here they are, kind of like contained in these glass coffins. I think you can click on this head to see their symbol. And you can click on them and they'll give you a little something. Is that right? Yeah.
Ah, comes. Is it you, Nemesis? No. A friend. Come closer. You are kind, pilgrim. Bring fire.
Fire.
My element. You're in danger. Hurry.
So you can see the mist inspiration pretty clearly, right? Just like you have to bring the pages to the brothers in that game. Here you have to bring the elements to the alchemists. So here's Cain.
Oh, gold is there. Soldier. I am one of my men. There's no one left. Everything destroyed. Bring me earth. That is my strength. I'll reward you. A fortune in Zork.
Zork mids.
The Nemesis.
Zork mids are the currency in Zork world. Also, amazingly, this actor is in Monster Squad. He's like the dad sheriff character in Monster Squad. I can't wait to look at that film. I need to make sure my understanding of Shannon's entropy equations are really locked down before we look at Monster Squad. Also, isn't that like a hilarious statement to be able to make? Yes, it's true. In order to understand Monster Squad, we have to understand entropy really well.
Who's there? Melancholy, blood-colored phlegm. For humans. A human. He did this to me. Spiritus non corpus. He's mad. I need.
So his acting is a little
Must go on.
questionable. I imagine this was a really fun thing to work on, though. Experimental thing.
There's someone there. Cain.
Right.
Who's ever there?
So they're
Please
lovers.
help me. Trapped here so long. You may be too. Get water.
You know, I think it's done this way for a technical reason. Like, they're not going to have live video looping here. The game engine doesn't really support that level of kind of ambient animation. So after they've done their little speech, they just like dissolve back into a still image again. But that really creeped me out as a kid when I played them. It's like, what state are these beings in when you're not talking to them? It's as if they're kind of dead or on some weird life support thing. And then you can kind of, like, res them up to have these strange, I don't know, it's creepy. Did we get everybody? I think that's it, right? So, let's get Malvo's element. Let's go get fire thing. Oh, thanks, Switch Res X. It's so useful to me to know that, like, every day that you tell me that. Where do we need to go to deal with fire? Well, actually, first we need to go grab this weird puzzle element, which we get out here, I think. You know, again, it's like so many of these environments are kind of inexplicable. Like, here we have this huge kind of open area, and you might think that something big or significant would happen in this area, but nothing ever does. This thing exists for one reason, and it's to give you this inventory item. That's it. Like, this thing isn't even interactive. It doesn't do anything. You get this little stick, and you learn some symbols here maybe. But that's it. Otherwise, it's just kind of a place to look at the mountains and listen to these wind sounds and observe this weird tree gazebo thing. It's like there's a door over here that never opens. Broken bench. Some kind of strange head, god head or something up there. Bust. This fascinating thing, like, what is this? Another statue kind of broken into pieces there. It links us into this other space. So it makes for a kind of shortcut, potentially, maybe, but I don't know. It's just lots of strange design choices in this game. So, here we are in the library. Some of these books are really funny. Okay, so here's a map of the temple. Again, I don't want to read all this stuff at the moment. I want to find this particular book that I think is funny. Interview with the Guru. Alchemy of Pure Love, that's a good one. This is funny. My Best Excesses by Lord Dimwit Flathead. The Flatheads are a very beloved part of the Zork lore, I would say. I guess we only have this tiny little fragment of it. Chapter 1 on taxes. As I will summarize in the following 1,100 pages, the 98% tax rate is a mere pittance and nothing worth doing in this empire can be done for any less than a full 100%. My next 2,000 or 3,000 tax bills should further illumine my immensely keen feelings on the subject. Suffice it to say that the forwarding legislation, these like italicized words really amuse me, of the Analecta Luidica Roman numerals shall stand. The Lord Dimwit Flathead to the people of Quendor. Anyone withholding payment of all taxes decreed before this date shall be killed along with everyone they have ever met. That's a great law. I have known my share of detractors. A ruler so excessively wise, so excessively handsome, excessively flat as myself will always find himself the subject of pernicious slander. There always will be some who lack the vision, some who think we cannot afford, plebeian concept, to erect a new continent in my own excellent image, some who doubt we require, as if that were the issue, an underground flood control dam where there is no rain, as if the inspired work of a philosopher king was to be governed by the vicissitudes of the weather. I am convinced, however, that the statue of my royal selfness that I am erecting in the Fuglio Valley will be. That reminds a bit of our king, doesn't it? I speak, of course, of King Cheeto. I try not to be too political here, but man, he's like the worst president we could have for the situation we have at the moment. The best of the new Zorker. None of these are the books I was looking for, though. Where's the book I'm looking for? Okay, I keep opening Interview with the Gru. It's not that one. It's not this one, because it's just the Nemesis Weird Journal. This thing, actually, I think that's a puzzle element from Return to Zork that they've stuck in there to create some continuity. Is the last one here, maybe? Oh, that's still my best accesses. Oh well, I can't seem to find it. Oh, this is an important page, though, because it shows us who associates to what planet. It seems like there should be... Maybe let's open this. Pure love, the willing and eternal joining of two souls, is the fifth element, quintessence or the philosopher's stone. The sun and moon are two magical principles, one active, the other passive, this masculine, that feminine. There is not a compound in all nature, but hath in it these two luminaries, a little sun and a little moon. What a great little summary of all that. Well, I can't find this thing, so oh well. Maybe it's somewhere else in the library? Could be. Now, a terrifying thing happens when you click this. It's just like some kind of psychosis moment, I don't know. I don't even know what this is. I really have no idea. Maybe it's a reference to some other thing, because this thing is from Return to Zork. So maybe this is a dagger from one of the other games or something, some little piece of Zork trivia, but... I just find everything in this game so enigmatic. Like, what the hell is that, and why is it there? Okay, so here's this little puzzle. It's not really much of a puzzle. But it is just kind of like sorting through layers of rotating shapes. Weird little moment. Again, like, what's even happening? How is this thing moving? It's a strange moment because it kind of, I don't know. There's like almost like a fourth wall is broken there, you know? It's like very clearly shaped so I'm moving around with a cursor now. There's, you know, it kind of breaks the idea that like a hand is doing something because those objects are too far away. I can remember actually just kind of hanging out in this area. Like, I would just leave this on in my room, kind of thing. Because I loved the fire animations. Okay, so now we select the correct symbol, which is this, I think. And we place this in here, and it becomes this big kind of sun disk rotation mechanic thing. And I think this was Malvo's symbol, right? Ah, come on. Yeah. Now this is an interesting puzzle. It involves this mirror. Pick up that mirror, and then you can place it on these different hooks. And this is a total kind of can you spot the pixel like puzzle, but one with an interesting extra layer. The first thing we're doing is we're trying to find a mirror position that will show us something novel. So, aha. This shows us that one of these candles has a blue flame. So we want to click on that candle, but you've got to do a kind of image translation in your head to like map it symmetrically. Like, how do you find that candle out of all these candles? Well, you've got to look at the kind of global pose of all these candles together and see, like, okay, I'm looking for these two little ones sitting next to it. But then you've got to flip it symmetrically in your head. So, let's see here. So I think it's that one. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, and so that's what a puzzle sequence is like in this game. They're not really inventory based, and they're not really logical, and a lot of them just have to do with kind of learning to associate the right symbols to the right things. It's like, okay, we're in this fire corridor, so the game has taught us that goes together with these glyphs, so we select for those glyphs. Similar to Welcome to the Future in that way, in that it involves a lot of explicit, like, symbol usage.
Bless you, good brother. Ah, fire, spark of the universe. I feel the heat in my very soul. The Nemesis. My daughter Alexandria was his victim. Brilliant, beautiful. And he killed her simply because she got in the way. I couldn't save her. And for that, I'll burn yet. Sometimes I feel her spirit here. I hear her music. Please, trumpet. There is a way to bring her back.
It's interesting that the priest is associated with fire kind of has a little union of opposites idea built into him, I would say. Because I would really associate fire with devilish things, you know? Hell and so on. I wouldn't think that a priest would necessarily... I would think more air for a priest or something, you know? But, etc. So, okay. This thing... is quite interesting to me at the moment, actually, because it's clearly a sacrificial altar of some sort, I would say. And I think actually what happens once you get all the elements represented on this table is that this center thing fills with blood. Actually, you can see a little kind of glitch there. It momentarily has blood in it before the game remembers that that's not the state it's supposed to be in. I wonder if that was ever addressed with a patch or something maybe that I haven't installed, who knows. And we have, I guess, what is this, like a moon with a star kind of motif in the middle. Strange. Anyway, this is kind of just the first like little micro round of puzzles. Once we get this table completed, we'll unlock the ability to journey to the other 4 worlds. Each alchemist has a whole other environment associated with them that we access through the planetarium, wherever that is. I think it's over here. So here, let's go down. Look at this thing. It looked like something out of a Pet Shop Boys music video, you know? So I think again here we have you know, the 4 elements, their planets and metals. There's Saturn. Very kind of linked to Kronos, of course. Here we see devouring child. Jupiter. Mars. And then here we have a Sol and a Luna, I believe. Although this Luna is looking quite a bit like... well, maybe she's Diana or Artemis or something. I don't remember all my lunar goddesses, but... here's a sun, Solus. So, right. Oh man, it's so cool. I could play with that for a long time. So anyway, this isn't operative yet. Yeah, we could do this one maybe, whatever this one is. Is this water maybe? Or is this air? I don't remember. So here the weird statue head comes live and plays a song for you on the panpipes. And it's similar to the other puzzle in that it's like the candle recognition puzzle, in that this is a basic kind of pattern replication thing. It just wants you to remember this note combination. Da, da. Sounds incidentally quite a bit like it belongs in a Peter Gabriel song. And then you replicate it on this like tone fountain. This part of the game seems to be quite stable in DOSBox, but back in the day on real hardware, it used to crash all the time at this thing. I hated this puzzle. It would always be like the first one I do so that I would, wouldn't have to risk having the game crash later, basically. So that opened these doors. I think they were locked initially. A door going up and a door going down. Let's go up first, I guess. Aha. This is like a time machine, basically. By spinning around in this room, we can move through the different time periods represented in the pictures. The Zorkiolithic epochs, the construction of the temple. The Cursiolithic present, the age of magic. The future lithic age. This is a screenshot from Return to Zork. That's like the first environment you find yourself in Return to Zork. The Valley of the Sparrows, I believe. The Frobolithic Glacier Epochs. 1 million BE. It's the E, I wonder. Frobozolithic Lake Epoch. So you see, the game has a serious tone, but then it has ridiculous things like this in it. The Brogmolithic Volcano Epochs. So, right. The way this time machine thing works is you sit in this weird hourglass chair. Rotate around, and you can access these different eras through the window. So this would be the construction of the temple, so we can grab a saw there, thus completely disrupting the space-time continuum, probably, but oh well. Okay, there's this epochs, that is. What we do now is we saw off this piece of ice. And then rewind or fast forward time to get to the now really that should be melting already, but I think the puzzle wants us to go to the volcano era. And that'll make it melt fast. And now we have water. And then we just drift back down to the sacrificial altars. Everything in this game is an out-of-body experience, basically. Even just like going up the stairs has some kind of strange, whooshy gravity to it. Also, I love how they've represented this. Like, before we just had fire coming off of the triangle, but now it's in this little ceramic bowl. Crazy cool. I love stuff like that.
Yes. Water. The spring of life seeps deep into my bones. Thank you. Nemesis, I can withstand you for an eternity. You understand that he murdered us. Worse than that, he murdered 2 children, Lucienne and Alexandria. Innocents, not like us. Free the others, please.
Let's free the others. And we had another doorway there we didn't explore, right? Does this take us down into the mining area? Oh, it takes us nowhere at the moment. That's interesting. Huh. Have to open later. And still go up into the time dilation room, right? Yeah. Try doing this thing again. No, already solved it. Something else must trigger that, I guess. Oh yeah, this weird thing. How did this work? Like, again, like, what am I even looking at? It's like skeleton hands holding a bar. And then you manipulate the fingers. Am I correct? I think you're supposed to kind of spell open. Is that right? Or is there some actual... That must be wrong. That must be wrong. Ridiculous idea. Well, here we really have a puzzle I'm not sure how to solve, actually, off the top of my head. Maybe we can go ask the painting for help now. I can remember how to get out of this space. Where are we? Weird. This is a strange little kind of corner node that I'm not sure I've really ever seen, actually. I know you can kind of stand diagonally behind this side of this. Weird. Okay. Learn something new every time you play these old things.
Two fingers exposed, and the door isn't closed.
Okay, so that's useful. Right. Two fingers exposed, so most of them are going to be down.
Play with the finger.
Thanks. More information, please.
Lift the leftmost finger and the third finger from the right.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Leftmost finger and the third finger from the right. Wait, what? Did I go to the wrong place? Or has it just auto-solved that for me? I think I'm getting confused about the doors, right? Here we go. I already forgot what she said. Does anybody remember? Anyway, it's gonna be two of these open. I think it must be. Try this combination. There we go. Of course, it happened so quickly. I'm not sure what the what the symbols were even. Was it like masculine symbol and Scorpio? Were those the two glyphs in the end? In this game, they're meant to associate to air, maybe. I don't remember. To catch it on the playback. You know, so like, Look at this bizarre idea. Spiral elevator. Oh no, right. So now we're in the now we're in the Mars Earth zone. Kane's area. Now I think you can die here. So maybe I should save it. How do I do that? Oh, good. Save it here. Huh. It's like a sort of skull of some sort. Like momentary Indiana Jones flashbacks there or something. Now, I'm not sure how you're supposed to know what to press in the game, like the first time you play it through. This information must be in one of the books or something. But you're supposed to select the image of Kane's like military castle where he lives, which I'm pretty sure is going to be this. Let's see if that was right. I think that means we did it right. Yay. If you get that wrong, it just sort of careens off the edge of a cliff or something and kills you. That's probably the weirdest one out of these introductory puzzles. Who knows what that's all about, you know? Very strange. Although I don't know, they've all been pretty weird. The rotating time room was pretty weird, I guess. So this one just appears as a nicely formed little piece of like triangular dirt that just go right into its slot.
You have done well. I misjudged you. The four elements. In union, they create the universe. Each one of us commands one, and it gives us strength. But it's temporary. He is a monster. My own murder I will forgive him, but not the murder of my son. I was a man with many flaws, but Lucien was just a boy. Once I vowed to get revenge. Now, I just want my son back. Find the place where his soul rests. I've never asked this of anyone, but now, I ask you. Help me.
So we've learned that the Nemesis murdered this guy's son, maybe. Lucien. Okay, what are we missing now? Just air, right? Air is in one of these other chambers. Let's see. Oh, here's where it shows you the different environs. That's neat. Aha. So there's Malvo's monastery. There's Iron Dune, Kane Liz. And there's this incredibly creepy mental asylum where Sartorius lives, which is like in the equivalent of the Antarctic somewhere, you know. So hold on a second. I thought this area was part of the air puzzle. So that would be incorrect. Can we go down as well? Yeah. Oh, I see. This is all part of the same stairwell here. Ah, I get this now. I think I've... Again, I don't think I ever have seen that top room before. I think it ever occurred to me to go back up this stairwell. I must have just guessed my way through that button thing back in the day, and then once I knew it, and it never occurred to me to go up. Well, neat. There's like a telescope observatory there. That sort of implies that this temple is a bit centrally located relative to all those different spaces, unless they're like magical telescopes. If those are just normal telescopes, then the Temple of Agrippa would be somehow more or less in between all of those different zones. They really could be magical telescopes, though. After all, the planetarium is going to just teleport us to those different zones, so we're obviously in a somewhat weird world. Come on, now where is this thing? Is it up here? No, this is back to this thing. Which did have, we can figure out how to get down here, right? This goes to a dead end. Yeah. Here's where we want to be. So we're looking at a big zodiac map here, I think. Because this looks like Capricorn, the goat fish. And you can see some other elements there. This is one of those weird puzzles where you have to get a certain configuration of dots. I think you're trying to get all the blues to be sparkling and none of the pinks sparkling. And you can click on them to turn them on and off, but each one also affects a bunch of other ones. So you'll turn a bunch of things off, and then you try to turn that off, and it turns more on over here, etc. One approach to solving a puzzle like this would be to go through and note the effects of every node in that network, and then solve it logically, but I tend to just fiddle with them until they until they work. It's a simple enough little system here. You get you'll stumble into the correct state eventually. There we go. See? Only took like 30 seconds or a minute or something of fiddling. There's like so much in this game. It's so bizarre and surreal. It's a little hard to even analyze or understand it. Like, what just happened there? We interacted with the zodiac map and transferred like star energy around that then like gave birth to an ethereal bird that flew up this chamber and brought down this spiral staircase that we can now ascend in order to interact with the next insane puzzle sequence. I think there's like a giant globe of error that we have to mix a bunch of colored gases in order to produce a pure white gas, I think. Now, as I recall, this is also a major crash zone sometimes, so let's save it. So first we have to figure out how to just turn this thing on, I think. Is that kind of telling us what we're meant to do, actually? Synthesize these colors to arrive at the white middle? Not sure. Somewhere there's a button, maybe it's one of these butterflies. That will sort of turn on the machine, I think. Ah, here we go. What are these, beetles and butterflies and stuff? Again, strange choices. This is one of the only adventure games I know of that was like primarily designed by a woman. It really is pretty unusual in this era. The only other major thing I can think of is like King's Quest, you know. I think somehow it shows in a way, you know. There's something so for a game that describes itself as being kind of like a puzzle game, you know? Here's what I'm trying to say, I suppose. The puzzles are not of the left hemisphere. You know, these are strange, like, trying to say. It skews more subjective than dreamlike. Something like this. I feel that in this genre, that, you know, some of the games end up being so much about, like, we want to make sure that the player proves that they're really smart in order to advance through this or that area. Right, this is what makes it difficult to use. The green lever is fixed. But this game isn't really like that. These puzzles feel like they're here more to provide you with a more holistic sort of experience. I don't know. They're not just interesting as little logic things. They're interesting symbolically, and they're much more aesthetically appealing, I think, than many of the puzzles you find in other games. Although I have to say, when it comes to puzzle design in this genre, probably Riven remains the absolute most incredible thing I've played. It kind of gets the best of multiple aspects, that one, I think. Well, I'm really not doing very well at this puzzle, am I? this seems like it's quite close, this state. It looks like we have a little bit too much blue. So but then we have too much yellow. Ah, that's so close. Yeah, I've got to say that this little gas animation really holds up pretty well. I find it pleasing to look at. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and then it produces some insane tornado effect, of course. Okay. We've completed our table of elements. Not a periodic table of elements, though. An alchemical table of elements.
The union of the four powers is complete. And finally, we are reunited. Cain, Sartorius, Malvo, thank God you survived. Now we must plan our escape. You're our only hope. And we're yours. You must learn the secrets of alchemy in our world and retrieve our lost metals. Our time is running out. Do you understand what we're fighting? He'll kill anyone who stands in his way. Look at Alexandria, Lucian.
It's all our fault
We've
that
all
he...
made mistakes. Terrible.
Just like these floating heads. Sorry.
Now we'll have the chance.
It's so funny, though.
Why have you come, fool? To turn your worthless ore into gold? To trade a few pitiful years for eternal life? Or I know, maybe you're the hero of the day. You seek the truth, my fool? Come closer. Listen, and I will utter my truth. A truth so heinous that you will wish you had never looked upon me.
Nemesis! Neither your magic nor your dementia can save you. This one has broken through. Others will follow.
Speak up, Sartorius. I don't hear you. The great alchemists. And you. Now it's time for you to join your friends in hell.
Follow.
You must act quickly. Our powers are still weak, and he'll be back.
Okay, so that means we've essentially unlocked the total game world now. Get the planetarium running. So we do this, right? Oh, whoops. Now, again, though, I have to kind of ask, like, it just in terms of trying to make some basic sense of what's going on here. What is this thing that we've just placed into the planetarium? It kind of blew out of the Nemesis when he was vanquished by the other alchemists somehow, or did he drop it accidentally, or but what even is it though? Anyway, it's something that's going to kind of power the sun, I guess, right? Now we've illuminated the lamp, which is how many petals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, strange. So where should we go? We can go to the monastery. Yeah, let's do that.